Good evening everybody, I'm Kath Lloyd from Make the Change and it is Wednesday evening and it is Let's Talk, and tonight we're going to be talking about how to take the stress out of your choices. Okay, now when we go through life we are making choices or decisions all of the time. Some more difficult than others. So as we go through life, it might be about what exams am I going to take? What am I going to do as a job or a career? Should I go out with this person? Do I want to live the rest of my life with this person? Should I have sex with this person? When is the right time to get pregnant? And so on and so forth. And then sometimes, yes, these are difficult decisions to make for yourself. And then, of course, if you have children, your decision making goes to a whole different level because you've got to make decisions about somebody else's life. So what school are they going to go to? How do I decide, which is the best for my child? And then, these are things that can be altered quite easily. And then there's other times when, you have to make a choice or you have to make a decision where you have to dig deep. You really have to find a way of making that choice because the things that you've got to make the choice over are perhaps on the same level. And this is where it becomes truly difficult. It can become agonising. I had to make a choice back last September 2018. I wanted to be next to my son up in Scotland, but then also I hadn't seen my parents for about 2 weeks, who I look after 5 days a week because they need the extra support. And that is when it becomes agonising. Both of those sets of people were vitally and still are vitally important to me. But in the end, I had to work out who was being cared for, who was already being looked after, who was going to be there for them. And it wasn't enough just to think about my values. It was a case of having to work out who'd got the support, who hadn't got the support, who, where I could make contact easily and find information out, and all of those different sorts of things. And so it is sometimes about being very rational about it, almost being clinical about it, and working out, all of the different issues, weighing up pros and cons of all the different sides to the coin. Now, you might hear people saying, well, flip a coin, make a decision that way. And for some people that is going to work. Other times, it might be about looking at all the pros and cons, which works really, really well as well. I am a true believer that looking at your values is an excellent way, an excellent way of working out what is important to you and how that decision that you make is going to affect that value, that part of what is so important in your life. How is it going to be affected? What are the advantages and disadvantages of that? Another good way I find of making decisions, perhaps when it isn't quite so vital or agonising, is actually setting myself a time limit. Now, this is just like if you're going to flip a coin, if you're going to pull a straw, whichever way you're going to do it. If that's the way you're going to do it, you've got to stick with the outcome. So you flip a coin and you decide heads is going to be your answer, you've got to stick with that. So it's about being almost, you need to know the answer before you decide on how you're going to make that choice. Excuse me. But to me, setting a time limit forces you to concentrate your mind. Okay. And you will start to, when you're forced to concentrate your mind like that, you will dig deep and you will start to find the answers out. Now, another way, which is a really good way of letting your mind work in a more relaxed way, is through meditation, or through quiet time, as I call it. And having that quiet time or meditation time actually allows your brain to relax. And this is when, your ideas can start to flow freely if you're relaxed. I mean, if you imagine, when you're very stressed, when you're very anxious, when you're under pressure, your whole body is tight. You're not breathing properly. You're only breathing at the top part of your lungs. Your muscles are all tight. And you can see, when I'm talking about this, I'm crunching my eyebrows up and my face up. So, all your muscles in your head are going to be tight and your brain's going to be tight. Your gut's going to be tight. So it makes it very, very difficult to listen to your body, and when we're listening to our body, it's also about listening to what your gut instinct tells you. And a lot of the time we don't listen to that properly. And it's really, really important, because there's a lot of emotion that comes from our gut that has an effect on our brain. And, it's where a lot of our, most of our organs are. And if everything's tight, everything's uncomfortable, you perhaps get stomach ache and your body isn't moving, if you understand what I mean, in the correct way, and it can cause your whole body to go under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress when you want to relax it all. And so having that quiet time, doing some proper breathing when you're breathing properly, and listening to your breath, perhaps listening to the birds singing, or perhaps there's some chimes that you've got that you can listen to, or even just listening to the rhythmic pattern of the traffic going up the road can actually be very, very refreshing and relaxing to the mind. And so when we relax, it allows our thought processes to come to the surface. That's why, you find the answer to a problem perhaps when you're out walking. Some people say, I find ironing so relaxing, it allows me to think. That doesn't happen for me, I'm afraid. Or if you're in the shower, anything like that. Or some people, it's about in the gym or when they're out running, because it's allowing them to be who they really want to be. And so that is when, all of the ideas, all the thought processes can come to the surface and allow you to make that decision. And a lot of the time as well, I was talking about this with my daughter the other day, about making decisions. If your kids are hounding you to make a decision, I remember this when my kids were little, and this is what we were talking about. And my daughter was saying that, a lot, it's about what you as parents say, and, if this is to do with your children, a lot of the time you don't have to make the decision right away. All right, and try not to feel pressured into making that decision. Okay, and what me and my daughter were laughing about was the word maybe. So when her dad said maybe, she knew that meant yes. If I said maybe, it often meant no. So other people can start to pick up the vibes, the use of language, how we all use different words in different ways, and to allow us and give us time to make the right choice or the right decision for the best for everybody. So we all have a choice over what we prioritize, for example, and again, some of them are going to be, we're juggling away all through the day, aren't we? Something comes up and you have to rejuggle all of the time to slot as much as we can into our day, because we're busy people. We've got a lot of roles, we've got a lot of responsibilities that we need to take care of. And so it's about juggling things all of the time. And like I said before, a lot of it is very, very easy to juggle, but other times it isn't. And this is when you need to, one, know what your values are at the, well in advance, and where your priorities are, why your priorities are where they are at, and trust yourself to make the right choice. And be confident about it, and be able to, explain to people why you had to make that choice. And if, you've got a good reason for making that choice, then the majority of people are going to understand that, and they're going to respect you for it. Okay. So, if you just say, oh, I don't know why I made that choice, it was just a whim, a lot of people might, have a good laugh about it, but it's about how connected are you with that choice. So it's again about, like I talk about so many times, it's about connecting what's going on in your head to what's going on in your heart. Marry them together so that you can make the right choices for you and for the important people that are in your life, or for the things that you want for your future. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to live the best life that we can live. So, making choices, yes, it can be painfully difficult, but, look at your values, connect your values to the choices that you've got. Perhaps give yourself a time limit to make that choice, because that will focus your mind in the right direction. Spend a little bit of time having quiet time, or the way that you find to relax, to allow the ideas and the decisions to come to mind, and then act on it and be confident about your choice at the end of the day. So if you're struggling anguishing over decisions that you might have to make, then connect with me, contact me. I can help you sort these challenging conflicts that are going on in your head out with you, and help you find the best results for you, to allow the stress levels to reduce and to bring the happiness back into every day. So contact me on kathlloyd.co.uk and we can help you. So, on that note, have a great week. Have a great night this evening. Be confident about your choices that you're making in your life. And we'll speak again next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Bye-bye now.